Going into my sophomore season, I'm playing as a wide receiver, a cornerback, and a running back. I walked on to San Jose State last year, and I'm hoping to become a permanent starter this season along with winning a Mountain West Conference championship. Head coach Brett Brennan has been using me in every role he can, and even though I'm not a starter anywhere yet, through practice and game time, I'm trying to become one soon. I had an opportunity to hold on to a touchdown, but I just couldn't secure it, so luckily, on the other side of the ball, I was dominating, and so were the rest of my teammates. My close friend, senior safety Chase Williams not only got an interception here, but also took it all the way back to the house, and my only problems came on offense. I just couldn't seem to get anything going, but I did make something out of nothing a few times when I got out there, and head coach Brett Brennan had to see something in me because he kept giving me opportunities despite me dropping multiple passes. Of the 7 offensive snaps I played, I literally blew 3 of them, but in the end, I did a fantastic job playing cornerback, so my Spartans got a win in the season opener, and we all had a great time celebrating it. Bay Area rival Stanford was next on my schedule, and on my first snap of the day, I outran everybody on the field for a 38-yard touchdown, so I thought I'd have a bigger role on the offense after that, but I didn't. I mainly just got defensive chances, and even those were extremely inconsistent because I just wasn't polished as a player at this point in my career. With about 2 minutes left, I was out there on the field when we couldn't get a defensive stop, which meant we couldn't beat our rivals, but I was more worried about practice anyways. I wanted to become a starter, and I was determined to make it happen whether it was on offense or defense. I was getting much better at stopping the run, and off the field, I was making friends as I was finding new people everywhere. At wide receiver, this move earned me a position battle next week, and then I earned another one at halfback when I used my explosive speed to turn a 5-yard play into a 35-yard touchdown. Those would all come after we annihilated UTEP, and I love that we were playing so well because it meant more chances for me. To start the 4th quarter, I was out there at running back and I had my biggest opportunity, but I just wasn't strong enough to fight for a touchdown, and that was unfortunate because I got us all the way down there. I never even got a chance to get a rest, and then I had my best look at an interception yet, but I couldn't hold on to it, so that one was going to haunt me for a long time. I knew there was honestly no way to make up for that embarrassing drop, and I felt like I had blown it by not forcing a turnover or finding the end zone, so I just ran all night to relieve my stress, and then I had 2 position battles in one practice. I was hoping to move up the depth chart at halfback and wide receiver, which seemed likely as I continued to make plays out of the backfield. I didn't even run the ball during my running back battle, and that was fine because I won it and I made myself more elusive. As a wide receiver, it was a little more difficult for me to dominate, but I made the best out of the situation anyways. I broke multiple tackles before taking it into the end zone for the score, and after this jet sweep, I was wide receiver 4 on the depth chart. I made sure I maxed out my Excel, and all of those extra runs outside of practice were starting to pay off. However, one hit against Arkansas State would put me out for weeks, and that was literally crushing to me. I was going to be stuck watching my team from the sidelines for a bit, and I was devastated during the bus ride home. I'd end up taking the time to explore the Bay Area a little bit more, and by the end of October, my wrist was healed. My first game back from injury was against our biggest rivals, Fresno State, and if number 28 wasn't so fast, I would have been gone. Fortunately, head coach Brett Brennan threw me in right from the start, and even though I hadn't played a snap in a few weeks, I was getting plenty of touches, which was great for my development. However, senior quarterback Chevin Cordero continued to turn the ball over, and I just wasn't able to create much separation as a receiver, so we went into the half with 0 points, but that didn't last long as I found my way into the end zone, and I continued to get our offense going. I was slowly starting to stand out even more than I already had because of my top end speed, and it was paying off. On the other side of the ball, I was also trying my best, and I screamed at the quarterback here as we continued to hold them to 3 points. Defensively, my teammates were just dominating the Bulldogs all day, and I got to be out there for a few of the plays where we ran out the rest of the clock. That night, we all celebrated the rivalry win as a team, but I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember much of it. Somehow Malachi Miller got hurt that night though, so that meant I'd move up to wide receiver 3. And speaking of injuries, since any could really derail all of the success I was starting to have, I was fortunate enough to know that if you're injured, you deserve compensation and the size of your law firm matters. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with more than 100 offices across the country and more than 800 lawyers ready to fight for you. They focus on all personal injuries such as medical malpractice, workplace injuries, car accidents, nursing home abuse, and more. And people often feel bad for suing somebody, but you shouldn't because you're often suing an insurance company that's sitting on billions of dollars. The best part about Morgan & Morgan is there's no upfront cost or sign-up fees, so everything is completely free of charge unless they win your case, and getting started is super easy too. You just have to dial pound law from your cell phone or go to forthepeople.com. Now, let's get back into my sophomore year, where I got off to an incredible start against Hawaii as I was making plays on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and after my performance last week, I was getting in on more snaps than ever before. Nearing halftime, my team was already up on the Rainbow Warriors by 21 points, which would increase to even more after I got wide open for the 32-yard score, and I was confident after that, so I tried to keep making big plays, but I got railed and lost the ball, which did not make Coach very happy. That wasn't the only time I'd lose it either, as I let it slip out of my hands again in the third quarter, so I was probably better off just sticking to defense where we kept dominating. If I wasn't so clumsy, I probably would have taken this run to the house, but I kept getting tripped up, so I'd end the game with just one touchdown. However, it was enough to land me my first NIL deal, and it was with a car dealership that gave me a brand new car, which was honestly amazing. I couldn't believe it, but my team was ranked in the AP poll with 4 games left in the year, and a Mountain West championship was looking more and more likely each day. At this point in the season, I had carved out a really solid role for myself, and I was starting to consistently find the end zone. I was beginning to get a little fatigued though, since I still return kicks, so due to that, I wasn't always at my best. Once again, my teammates and I were still holding it down on defense, so going into the half, we held Colorado State to 0 points, and to open the third quarter, I bolted in for my second sack. This was by far my best collegiate performance yet, and I legitimately felt like I couldn't be stopped. This was the game that locked me in as a starter, at least on offense, and I tried my absolute hardest to fight my way into the end zone for my 4th score today, but instead, I was just used as a dummy on the read option, so I didn't even win player of the game, and now the season all came down to this. If we could win at San Diego State, we'd be on top of our division in the Mountain West, and assuming we won our last 2 after that, we would clinch a spot in the conference championship. I started off the game by running the wrong route, but coach didn't care at all because I got us into the end zone, and I was hoping we could build off of that opening score, but my teammate and friend Kenyon Reed got toasted a few plays later, and I had to make sure I responded on the other end. Since I was playing so well, I was pretty much a starter on both sides of the ball now, and I had finally worked my way up from being just a walk-on to now getting onto the field and getting plenty of touches, so that felt amazing. With about 3 minutes left though, we were trailing by 3, and I noticed the guy that was supposed to be guarding me was on the other side of the field, so I took complete advantage of that, going 74 yards to the house, and it would all come down to if we could stop the San Diego State offense one final time. With 10 seconds left, I did my job playing my zone, but my teammates gave up a touchdown, and we would lose our first conference game of the season to the Aztecs. Nobody, including the bus driver, was happy on the trip home, and it was a long few days around campus because we were second in our division. I had made my way all the way up to being a starter on defense, and when I wasn't tired, I also played most of the snaps on offense, which was because my speed was so hard to stop. For like the 3rd week in a row, I ended up finding my way into the end zone for a touchdown, but I did get carried for about 10 yards when I tried to bring down UNLV's running back, and their offense was destroying my team and I as we fell behind fast. By midway through the 3rd quarter, it was already 31-7, and it was going to be extremely difficult to get back into it. If we couldn't come back, our season would practically be over, so me making this catch was huge for us. With a few minutes remaining, I dropped a key pass on 3rd and 19, but by the end of the drive, we still managed to score to bring it within 3 points, and it would all come down to if we could get one more defensive stop. Unfortunately though, one of my friends didn't play their zone well on 3rd down, so we lost yet another game, and afterwards, not a single girl wanted me.
Hallelujah.
Talk about extra, you're a waste of space.
I wanted to have a great performance in my final regular season game of my sophomore year against Nevada, and for the first few seconds of this run, I'm not gonna lie, I thought I had the ball, but I didn't, and we would end the drive by kicking a field goal instead. However, I would score on the next possession, and on the other side of things, we continued to hold the Wolfpack to no points. Honestly, playing in the slot made it super easy to find the end zone, and right before halftime, I took the ball as the running back and evaded around everybody to score my 3rd touchdown. This was the exact game I was hoping hoping for, as we were dominating Nevada everywhere, and I was having my best performance yet. I finished the season with 5 rushing scores, 659 receiving yards, 12 receiving touchdowns, and 41 tackles as a corner. That would get me a brand new NIL deal for another car, and life couldn't get any better. We also ended up winning our bowl game against Northern Illinois, and at least the year finished on a good note.